The abandoned outpost, the vast emptiness of space stretched out before Zara as she gazed through the cracked viewport of the Celestial Harmony Research Station. The young Lyresian scientist's iridescent scales shimmered in the dim emergency lighting, a stark contrast to the darkness that engulfed the dying outpost. For the past 3 lunar cycles, Zara had been the sole inhabitant of this once bustling hub of interstellar research, abandoned by her own kind in their haste to escape the rapidly deteriorating station. Zara's 4-fingered hand traced the intricate patterns on the control panel, a habit she had developed to calm her nerves. The station's systems were failing, one by one, and she knew her time was running out. Food supplies were dwindling, and the life support systems were barely functioning. Yet, despite the dire circumstances, a part of her refused to give up hope. As she performed her daily checks on the remaining functional equipment, a sudden alert caught her attention. The long-range sensors, miraculously still operational, had detected an approaching vessel. Zara's heart raced as she rushed to the main computer terminal, her elongated limbs carrying her swiftly across the chamber. "Computer, identify the incoming ship," she commanded, her melodic voice tinged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The A's response crackled through the speakers, distorted by the station's failing power. "Unable to identify. Ship configuration unknown. Not matching any recorded Lyresian or allied species designs." Zara's bioluminescent markings pulsed with anticipation. Could it be a rescue ship? Had her people finally remembered her? Or was it something else entirely? The unknown both thrilled and terrified her. As the mysterious ship drew closer, Zara made a decision. She would initiate contact. It was a risk, but one she was willing to take. With trembling hands, she activated the station's communication array, praying it would hold long enough to transmit a message. "Unidentified vessel, this is Zara of the Lyresian Science Academy aboard the Celestial Harmony Research Station. I am in need of assistance. Please respond." For what seemed like an eternity, there was only silence. Then suddenly, the comm system crackled to life. "Celestial Harmony, this is Captain Elias Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We've received your distress call. Stand by for docking procedures." Zara's antenna twitched in surprise. Humans, she had heard stories of this species, tales of their resourcefulness and determination, but she had never encountered one before. The Lyresians had always kept their distance from the fledgling spacefaring race, deeming them too unpredictable and potentially dangerous. As the Horizon maneuvered into position, Zara hurried to the docking bay, her mind racing with questions and possibilities. The airlock hissed open, and for the first time in months, Zara found herself face to face with another sentient being. Captain Elias Chen stepped forward, his dark eyes widening slightly at the sight of Zara. He was tall for a human, with broad shoulders and a commanding presence. Behind him stood his crew, a diverse group of individuals, each regarding Zara with a mix of curiosity and caution. "I'm Captain Chen," he said, his voice firm but not unkind. "We picked up your distress signal. Are you alone here?" Zara nodded, her translator working to convert her melodic language into something the humans could understand. "Yes, Captain. I'm the last remaining member of the research team. The others, they left when the station began to fail." Chen's expression softened slightly. "They abandoned you." "They had no choice," Zara replied, though the words felt hollow even to her. The evacuation ships could not accommodate everyone. As the youngest and least experienced, I was left behind. A murmur of disbelief ran through the human crew. Chen silenced them with a raised hand. "We're here now, and we'll do what we can to help. Can you tell us more about the station's condition?" As Zara led the humans through the deteriorating corridors of the Celestial Harmony, she explained the series of cascading failures that had brought the once proud research facility to its knees. The humans listened intently, occasionally exchanging glances that Zara couldn't quite interpret. "The main reactor is beyond repair," Zara concluded as they reached the central control room. Life support is operating at minimal capacity, and our food supplies are nearly exhausted. Chen nodded gravely. It's worse than we thought. Zara, I'm afraid this station can't be saved. We need to evacuate you immediately. Zora's bioluminescent markings dimmed with sadness. But the research, all our work, there's so much knowledge here that could be lost forever. We'll salvage what we can, Chen assured her. But your life is more important than any data. As the human crew began the process of downloading the station's databases and collecting essential equipment, Zara found herself drawn to their efficiency and teamwork. They moved with a purpose, each member knowing their role and executing it flawlessly. One of the crew members, a young woman with bright red hair and a smattering of freckles across her nose, approached Zara. I'm Dr. Samantha Reeves, the Horizon's xenobiologist. I was wondering if you could tell me more about your species. We've never encountered Lyresians before. Zara's antenna perked up with interest. Of course, Dr. Reeves. The Lyresian people have a long history of scientific exploration. Our biology allows us to adapt to various environments, which has been crucial in our studies of different worlds. As Zara explained the intricacies of Lyresian physiology and culture, she found herself growing more comfortable with the humans. Their genuine interest and respectful questions were a stark contrast to the dismissive attitude she had faced from some of her own people. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the station. Captain Chen rushed to Zara's side. What's happening? Zara's fingers flew over the control panel. The station's orbit is decaying faster than anticipated. We have less than an hour before it enters the planet's atmosphere. Chen's face hardened with determination. We need to move. Now. Crew, grab what you can and get back to the horizon. Zara, is there anything essential you need to take with you? Zara hesitated for a moment, her gaze sweeping across the chamber that had been her home and prison for the past months. Just one thing, she said, darting to a small compartment and retrieving a delicate crystalline structure. It's a memory crystal containing my personal research. Everything else can be left behind. As they raced back to the docking bay, the station groaned and shuddered around them. Pieces of the ceiling began to fall, and the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. Chen grabbed Zara's arm, steadying her as they ran. Almost there, he encouraged. Just a little further. They burst into the airlock just as another violent tremor shook the station. The Horizon's crew scrambled aboard, with Chen and Zara bringing up the rear. As soon as they were inside, Chen shouted, "Seal the airlock and disengage. We're cutting it close." Zara felt the vibration of the Horizon's engines as they pulled away from the doomed station. Through a viewport, she watched as the celestial harmony, her home for so long, grew smaller and smaller. "I'm sorry," Chen said softly, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I know how hard it must be to leave everything behind." Zara turned to face him, her large, multifaceted eyes shimmering with emotion. "You saved my life, Captain Chen. You and your crew risked yourselves for a stranger, an alien. Why?" Chen's lips curved into a small smile. "Because it was the right thing to do. Humanity has a long history of exploration and discovery, but we've learned that the most important discoveries are often about ourselves and our capacity for compassion." As the Horizon sped away from the dying station, Zara felt a mixture of grief and hope wash over her. She had lost her home and her connection to her people, but she had gained something unexpected, a chance to learn about a species that defied her preconceptions. "What will happen to me now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ken's expression was kind but determined. "For now, you're under our protection. We'll make contact with your people and arrange for your safe return. But until then, consider yourself a guest aboard the Horizon. Who knows? Perhaps this is the beginning of a new chapter in Lyresian-human relations." As Zara settled into her temporary quarters aboard the Horizon, she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement beneath her apprehension. The humans had already shown her more kindness than she had experienced in years. Perhaps, she thought, This unexpected encounter would lead to something greater than she could have ever imagined. Little did Zara know that her rescue was just the beginning of an adventure that would challenge everything she thought she knew about herself, her species, and the vast, mysterious universe they all called home. Quantum echoes. The horizon glided through the star-speckled void, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant suns. Inside, Zara found herself in a whirlwind of new experiences, each moment aboard the human vessel expanding her understanding of this enigmatic species. Captain Chen had assigned Dr. Samantha Rees to act as Zara's liaison, a decision that proved fortuitous. The xenobiologist's insatiable curiosity matched Zara's own, and the two quickly formed a bond over their shared love of science. "Your bioluminescent patterns," Sam marveled, watching the shimmering lights dance across Zara's scales. "They're not just beautiful, they're a form of communication, aren't they?" Zara's antenna twitched with pleasure at the human's perceptiveness. "Indeed, it's a subtle language, conveying emotions and intentions that words alone cannot express." As they conversed, Zara couldn't help but notice the various crew members going about their duties. The diversity of human appearances fascinated her, a stark contrast to the uniform biology of her own people. Suddenly, a violent shudder ran through the ship, nearly knocking them off their feet. Red alert klaxons blared as Captain Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. "All hands to battle stations. We've encountered a quantum anomaly." Zara and Sam rushed to the bridge, where chaos reigned. Through the viewscreen, Zara saw a sight that defied comprehension. A massive, swirling vortex of energy, its colors shifting in impossible patterns. "What is that?" Zara gasped, her scales pulsing with a mix of fear and awe. Chen's face was grim. "We're calling it a quantum storm. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered. Our sensors are going haywire, and the navigational systems are offline." As the crew worked feverishly to regain control of the ship, Zara's mind raced. The swirling patterns reminded her of something, a theory she had been working on back at the Celestial Harmony. "Captain," she said, her voice trembling with excitement and trepidation, "I think I might know what this is. On my station, we were researching the possibility of quantum entanglement on a massive scale. This could be a manifestation of that theory." Chen turned to her, his eyes sharp with interest. "Go on." Zara's words tumbled out in a rush. "We theorized that under certain conditions, quantum entanglement could create bridges between distant points in space-time, but we never imagined it could happen on this scale. Can you help us navigate it?" Chen asked, hope creeping into his voice. Zara hesitated. I'm not sure. My research was purely theoretical, but if you can give me access to your sensors, I might be able to analyze the quantum fluctuations and find a safe path through." Chen nodded decisively. "Do it. Lieutenant Kira, give Zara full access to our sensor array." As Zara immersed herself in the stream of data, the quantum storm grew more intense. The horizon groaned under the strain, its hull creaking ominously. "We're being pulled in," the helmsman shouted. "We can't break free." Zara's mind raced, her fingers flying over the controls as she searched for a pattern in the chaos. Then suddenly she saw it, a complex mathematical sequence hidden within the quantum fluctuations. "There," she cried. "I found a stable path through the storm, but it's narrow, and it's shifting rapidly. We'll need split-second timing to navigate it." Chen didn't hesitate. "Helm, follow Zara's coordinates. Everyone else, brace for impact." What followed was a harrowing journey through the heart of the quantum storm. The horizon twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding tendrils of energy that threatened to tear the ship apart. Zara worked in perfect synchronization with the human crew, her alien mind processing the quantum data faster than any computer. Just when it seemed they couldn't endure any more, the horizon burst free of the storm, emerging into clear space. A collective cheer went up from the crew. Chen turned to Zara, his face etched with newfound respect. "That was incredible. You saved us all." But their relief was short-lived. As the adrenaline faded, they realized something was terribly wrong. The star patterns outside were unrecognizable, and when they checked their chronometers, they made a chilling discovery. "This is impossible," Sam whispered, her face pale. "According to these readings, we've traveled over 10,000 years into the future." The implications of their situation slowly sank in. They were lost, adrift in a time and place beyond their comprehension. The galaxy they knew was long gone, reshaped by eons of cosmic evolution. As the crew grappled with their new reality, Zara felt a strange mix of terror and exhilaration. She had lost her home twice now, first her station, and now her entire era. But looking around at the determined faces of her human companions, she realized something profound. Home wasn't a place or a time. It was the connections we forged, the bonds that held us together in the face of the unknown. Captain Chen's voice cut through the stunned silence. "All right, people. I know this is a shock, but we're still a crew, and we still have a mission. We find a way back home, no matter what it takes." Zara stepped forward, her scales glowing with resolve. "Captain, I want to help. My people's technology, combined with human ingenuity, perhaps together we can find a way to reverse this time jump." Chen nodded, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Welcome aboard, Zara, officially. Now, let's see what this brave new world has in store for us." As the Horizon ventured into the unknown, its crew, human and Lauresian alike, stood united. They had become more than colleagues or even friends. They were pioneers on the ultimate frontier, the future itself. Little did they know that their quantum leap had set in motion events that would reshape the very fabric of the universe. For in this distant future, ancient prophecies were stirring, and long-dormant forces were awakening. The arrival of the Horizon and its displaced crew was not mere chance, it was destiny. As they journeyed deeper into this transformed galaxy, Zara and her human companions would face challenges beyond imagination. They would encounter evolved species, confront cosmic horrors, and unravel mysteries that had plagued sentient beings for millennia. But most importantly, they would learn that the greatest force in the universe wasn't quantum energy or advanced technology. It was the power of diverse beings coming together, combining their strengths, and facing the unknown with courage and compassion. The adventure had only just begun, and the echoes of their journey would resonate across time and space, forever changing the course of galactic history. Echoes of eternity. The Horizon drifted through the cosmic tapestry of the far future, its hull gleaming under the light of unfamiliar stars. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of their new reality, with Zara at the forefront of their efforts. As they traveled, they encountered wonders beyond imagination, vast living nebulae that sang in frequencies that made the ship's hull vibrate, planet-sized sentient crystals that communicated through pulses of pure energy. Each discovery pushed the boundaries of their understanding, challenging both human and Lauresian perspectives. One day, as Zara and Sam pored over sensor data in the lab, an alert blared through the ship. "All senior staff to the bridge immediately." Chen's voice crackled over the intercom, tension evident in his tone. When they arrived, Chen gestured to the main view screen. "We've picked up a distress signal, but, well, see for yourself." The screen flickered to life, revealing a face that made Zara's scales ripple with shock. The being looked Lauresian, but subtly different, more angular features, eyes that glowed with an inner light. "This is Administrator Silos of the Temporal Concordat." The being spoke, its voice resonating with harmonic undertones. "To any who receive this message, beware. The chronivores have awakened. The barriers between realities are collapsing. Seek the Nexus key before it's too late. The fate of all timelines hangs in the balance." The message dissolved into static, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. "Temporal Concordat," Sam whispered. "Chronivores? What does it all mean?" Zara's mind raced. The being in the message, it looked like an evolved version of my species, as if Lauresians had continued to adapt and change over thousands of years. Chen's expression was grim. Whatever's happening, it sounds like the entire time stream is in danger. We need to find this nexus key. But as they debated their next move, the ship suddenly lurched violently. Outside the viewscreen, space itself seemed to fracture, reality splintering like shattered glass. "Chronovore attack," the tactical officer shouted. "They're trying to breach our hull." Through the fractures in space, Zara caught glimpses of nightmarish entities, beings of pure temporal energy, hungry for the very essence of time itself. The horizon shuddered under their assault, its advanced shields barely holding. In that moment of crisis, Zara felt a strange resonance within her. The bioluminescent patterns on her scales began to pulse in complex, never-before-seen sequences. Without fully understanding why, she pressed her hand against the ship's control panel. Suddenly, the horizon's systems surged with new energy. The shields strengthened, pushing back against the chronovore assault. Zara gasped as knowledge flooded her mind. Ancient secrets of her people, hidden in her very DNA, awakened by the temporal energies surrounding them. I remember," she breathed, her voice filled with awe. "My people, we were the guardians of time. The Nexus Key, it's not a thing. It's us. Our ability to stabilize temporal fluctuations." As the crew watched in amazement, Zara's body began to glow with intense light. She raised her hands, and beams of chronal energy burst forth, weaving a complex web around the ship. The fractures in space sealed themselves, and the chronovores recoiled, shrieking in otherworldly frequencies. When the light faded, the horizon found itself in a vast chamber of swirling temporal energy. Before them stood a massive structure, an ancient stargate of incomprehensible design. "The temporal concordat," Zara whispered, knowledge continuing to flood her awakened mind. "A coalition of time-sensitive species dedicated to protecting the flow of time. This is their headquarters, existing outside of normal space-time." As if in response to her words, a group of beings materialized before them. Some looked like evolved Lyrisians, others like species they had never encountered. At their center stood Administrator Xylos, regarding them with eyes that seemed to see past, present, and future simultaneously. "Welcome, lost ones," Xylos spoke, his voice resonating through time itself. "You have arrived at the pivot point of all realities. The horizon's quantum leap was no accident. It was the universe itself calling for help." Over the next few hours, Xylos explained the dire situation. The chronovores, ancient beings that fed on time itself, had been awakened by careless temporal experiments in multiple realities. Now they threatened to devour all of history, erasing entire civilizations from existence. "But there is hope," Xylos continued, turning to Zara. "In you, we see the echoes of the original Time Weavers. Your unique combination of Lyrisian heritage and exposure to human ingenuity has awakened dormant abilities we desperately need." Chen stepped forward, his face set with determination. "Whatever you need, we're in. We didn't come 10,000 years into the future just to watch reality itself be destroyed." Xylos nodded sullenly. "Then prepare yourselves. We must embark on a journey across fractured timelines, sealing temporal rifts and pushing back the chronovore invasion. The fate of all existence rests in our hands." As the Horizon's crew absorbed the magnitude of their new mission, Zara felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. She had started this journey as an abandoned researcher and now stood as a key figure in the battle for all of time. Looking around at her human companions, she saw the same resolve in their eyes. They had faced the unknown together, forged bonds stronger than mere friendship. Now they would become legends, if there was still a universe left to remember them. "Time to save reality," Sam quipped, a nervous grin on her face. "No pressure, right?" As they prepared to embark on their impossible mission, Zara realized that this unity, this courage in the face of cosmic horror, this was the true power of humanity. Not just their technology or their adaptability, but their ability to face the utterly unknown with determination and even humor. The Horizon, once a simple exploration vessel, was about to become the focal point of the greatest adventure in the history of the universe. As they stepped through the temporal stargate, ready to face whatever lay beyond, Zara knew one thing for certain: whatever happened, they would face it together. The battle for time itself had begun, and the echoes of their journey would resonate across all realities, forever changing the very fabric of existence. Quantum Requiem. The Horizon emerged from the temporal stargate into a kaleidoscope of fractured realities. Time and space twisted around them, presenting a dizzying array of potential futures and alternate pasts. Captain Chen gripped the command chair, his knuckles white. "Status report," he barked. Lieutenant Kira's fingers danced across her console. "Captain, we're detecting multiple temporal anomalies. It's like we're seeing every possible version of reality simultaneously." Zara stepped forward, her scales pulsing with newfound chronokinetic energy. "The Chronovore's assault has shattered the barriers between timelines. We're in the quantum nexus, the crossroads of all realities." As if to emphasize her point, the view screen flickered, showing glimpses of worlds both familiar and utterly alien. Earth, but with purple skies and twin moons. A version of Zara's homeworld where evolution took a radically different path. Realities where the laws of physics themselves seemed to operate differently. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Chronovore attack!" Kira shouted. "They're converging on our position." Through the fractured space-time, they saw them, writhing masses of temporal energy, humbrimours opening to devour entire sections of reality. The Horizon shuddered as the entities clashed against their shields. "Evasive maneuvers," Chen ordered. "Zara, can you use your new abilities to stabilize our position?" Zara nodded, closing her eyes in concentration. Her body began to glow with an otherworldly light as she tapped into the power of the Time Weavers. Streams of chronal energy flowed from her hands, weaving a protective cocoon around the ship. "It's working," Sam exclaimed, monitoring the readings. "We're anchored in a stable pocket of space-time." But their reprieve was short-lived. A massive chronovore, easily the size of a small moon, emerged from the chaos. Its very presence warped reality around it, and Zara felt her controls slipping. "We can't outrun that thing," Chen muttered. Then his eyes lit up with a desperate idea. "But maybe we can outsmart it. Helm, plot a course through that cluster of temporal rifts. Zara, be ready to seal them behind us." The Horizon dove into the maelstrom of shattered timelines, the colossal chronovore in hot pursuit. They weaved through pockets of alternative histories, a reality where the dinosaurs never went extinct, another where silicon-based life dominated the galaxy. Zara strained to maintain their temporal integrity while simultaneously seething the rifts in their wake. Sweat beaded on her brow as she pushed her newfound abilities to their limit. "It's working," Kira shouted. "The chronovore is getting trapped in the closed-off timelines." But just as victory seemed within reach, a stray tendril of chronovore energy lashed out, striking the Horizon's engine core. The ship spun out of control, alarms blaring as systems failed across the board. "We're losing power," the engineer reported, panic in his voice. "The chronokinetic surge has overloaded our systems." As the crew fought to regain control, reality itself seemed to unravel around them. Through the viewscreen, they watched in horror as entire timelines blinked out of existence, devoured by the ravenous chronovores. In that moment of despair, Zara felt a resonance deep within her being. The knowledge of countless generations of Time Weavers surged through her mind. She understood now. The Nexus Key wasn't just a tool to stabilize time. It was the power to reshape reality itself. "Captain," she said, her voice eerily calm, "I know what we have to do. But it's risky. We might not survive." Chen met her gaze, understanding passing between them. "Whatever it takes, Zara. We're with you." Zara nodded, then turned to address the crew. "I need you all to focus on your strongest memory, the moment that defines who you are. Your quantum signature is unique, tied to your consciousness. If we combine our essences with my time-waver abilities, we can rewrite the fabric of reality. As the crew closed their eyes in concentration, Zara began to glow with an intensity that rivaled a sun. The air around her shimmered with temporal energy as she drew upon the combined quantum signatures of the entire crew. With a cry that echoed across dimensions, Zara released the built-up energy. A shockwave of pure chronokinetic force exploded outward from the horizon, rippling across the shattered timelines. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, slowly, the fragmented realities began to reconnect themselves. The chronovores shrieked as they were forced back, their very existence unraveling in the face of this new power. As the light faded, the crew of the horizon found themselves floating in a sea of stars, but not the unfamiliar constellations of the far future. These were the star patterns they knew from their own time. Did we do it? Sam asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zara nodded, exhaustion evident in her posture. We've reset the timeline. The chronovore invasion never happened, but the memory of it, the potential for it, will always exist. We are now the guardians of time, tasked with preventing such a catastrophe from ever occurring again. Captain Chen looked around at his crew, human and Lauresian alike, with pride. We've seen the end of all things, and we've prevented it. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. As the horizon set a course for Earth, its crew forever changed by their journey, Zara reflected on the incredible path that had led her here. From an abandoned alien on a dying station to a key player in saving all of reality, it was a transformation she could never have imagined. But more than the awakening of her time-waver abilities, more than the reset of reality itself, what amazed Zara was the indomitable spirit of her human companions. In the face of cosmic horrors and the unraveling of time, they had stood firm, their courage and compassion a beacon in the darkness. As they approached Earth, ready to share their incredible tale and usher in a new era of cosmic awareness, Zara knew that the true power to shape reality lay not in chronokinetic energy or advanced technology. It was in the hearts and minds of those willing to stand against the darkness, to fight for a better future across all timelines. The Horizon's journey had ended, but the true adventure, the stewardship of time itself, was just beginning. Echoes of infinity. As the horizon approached Earth, the familiar blue marble grew larger in the viewscreen, but something was off. The continents were subtly different, the atmospheric patterns unlike anything they remembered. It appears our actions have had unexpected consequences, Zara observed, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with concern. Captain Chen frowned. Explain. By resetting the timeline, we've created a new quantum reality, Zara elaborated. This Earth is similar to ours, but with key differences. We're essentially arriving in a parallel world. As they entered orbit, they received a transmission from the surface. The face that appeared on the screen was human, but with subtle alien features, a slight blue tinge to the skin, eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Unidentified vessel, this is Earth Defense Command. State your intentions. Chen stepped forward. This is Captain Elias Chen of the Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon. We've come home. There was a pause, then Horizon? That's impossible. The Horizon was lost over a century ago during first contact with the Lauresians. The bridge crew exchanged bewildered glances. A century, first contact. Request permission to land, Chen said, struggling to keep his voice steady. We have a lot to discuss. As they descended through the atmosphere, they saw a world both familiar and strange. Gleaming cities that seemed to blend seamlessly with the natural environment, flying vehicles that moved with impossible grace, and everywhere, humans and aliens working side by side. They were escorted to a massive structure that seemed to defy gravity, its spiraling architecture reaching into the clouds. Inside, they were met by a diverse group of officials, humans, Lauresians, and species they didn't recognize. An elderly woman stepped forward, her eyes widening as she saw them. "It really is you," she whispered, "the lost crew of the horizon." Over the next few hours, they learned the truth of this new reality. In this timeline, the Horizon's disappearance had led to an accelerated first contact scenario with the Lyresians. The two species, driven by the mystery of the lost ship, had formed an alliance that ushered in an unprecedented era of technological and spiritual advancement. "Your disappearance became a catalyst for change," the woman who introduced herself as President Amara explained. "It brought our peoples together, united us against the unknown." But as they shared their own tale of quantum leaps, chronovores, and the battle for all of reality, the mood in the room shifted. The Timestring Concordat, one of the alien officials, murmured, "It's not just a legend." Zara stepped forward, her scales shimmering with newfound purpose. "No, it's not. And neither are the threats we faced. The chronovores may be gone from our immediate timeline, but the potential for their return always exists." President Amara nodded gravely. "Then we must be prepared. Your knowledge, your experiences, they could be crucial for the defense of not just our world, but all realities." And so, a new chapter began. The crew of the Horizon, displaced in time and space, found themselves at the center of a new initiative, the Quantum Defense Initiative, QDI. Pooling the advanced technology of this hybrid Earth with Zora's awakened Time-Weaver abilities and the crew's first-hand experience with cross-dimensional threats, they began to build a network of reality anchors, devices capable of detecting and neutralizing temporal anomalies. But their work was far from easy. As they expanded their efforts, they encountered echoes of the threats they had faced. Quantum ghosts, fragments of erased timelines that threaten to overwrite sections of reality. Paradox storms, swirling vortexes of temporal energy that could age a person to dust or revert them to infancy in seconds. Chronopirates, opportunists from across the multiverse seeking to plunder alternate realities. Through it all, the bond between the Horizon's crew and their new allies deepened. Zora, once an outcast among her own people, found herself revered as a link to the Lyresians' forgotten heritage as Time Weavers. The humans, with their adaptability and innovative thinking, continually found new ways to approach seemingly impossible problems. One day, as they stood on the observation deck of the QDI's orbital headquarters, watching quantum anchor satellites being deployed across the globe, Sam turned to Zara. "Do you ever wonder," she asked, "about the reality we left behind? The people we knew, the lives we had?" Zora's antenna twitched thoughtfully. "Often. But then I look at what we've built here, the countless lives we're protecting across the multiverse, and I know we're where we need to be." Captain Chen joined them, his face more lined than when their journey began, but his eyes still bright with determination. "We set out to explore strange new worlds," he mused. "I don't think any of us imagined we'd end up guardians of reality itself." As if in response to his words, alarms began to blare. A holographic display sprang to life, showing a massive temporal disturbance forming over the Pacific Ocean. "Looks like the multiverse is keeping us on our toes," Sam quipped, already moving towards the command center. Zara felt the familiar surge of chronokinetic energy coursing through her. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." As they raced to confront this new threat, Zara reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them here. From abandoned outpost to the very guardians of Spacetime, it was a transformation none of them could have imagined. But that, she realized, was the true beauty of existence. Every moment held the potential for infinite possibilities, and as long as there were those willing to stand against the darkness, to fight for a better future across all timelines, hope would always exist. The Horizon's original journey had ended, but their greatest adventure, as protectors of the quantum realm, was just beginning. And somewhere, in the vast, infinite expanse of the multiverse, their story would echo on, inspiring countless others to reach for the stars and beyond. Copyright